Hey everyone, it's Norm Farrar and welcome to another Legion Live. My partner is off in Las Vegas enjoying himself, and I'm sitting in the cold in Canada. Well, it's really not that cold. Anyways, today I've got my son, Kelsey Farrar, who heads up our social media, joining me today. And we're going to be talking about building trust through social media to optimize your FBA sales. So I think this is an important subject, but before we get to it, I just want to remind everybody that you can check out our Facebook group, Private Label Legion's Facebook group, or you can see more free content here on our YouTube channel. And remember, if you like what you hear today, Kelsey, I'm the old guy, remember? So smash those likes, I think I've been told.
There you go.
Ring the bell or subscribe or do all those things. Anyways, sir, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Now,
Right.
I just want to talk about this. I mean, this is such an important subject. I mean, we talk about it all the time, that you can't just be an Amazon seller these days. I mean, you can be an Amazon seller, but you're trying to enhance your brand. You're trying to enhance your micro brand. And how do you do that? And why do you do that? So one of the things that I think is like it's human nature that's really not taught in very many courses, and that is, how do you build sales through trust? And it's simple. Everybody that goes to Amazon, they've probably experienced that they've seen a product, they've seen 2 or 3 products, they didn't know which one to sell. You go to Google, you check out their web presence and see if they're real or not. And if their brand is consistent or it looks good, that first of all builds authority, then builds trust, and that will equal sales. So let's take it from there, Kels. Why is that so important?
Well, the first thing is, like, a lot of the things that you can do on social media are completely free. So I feel like it's kind of a no-brainer, just at least have something for your social media. And it's something that everyone can do. Everyone can kind of put together a banner. There's a lot of free courses out there, a lot of free software like Canva, where you can get things started even if you don't have a graphic designer. But like you were saying with trust and authority, super important these days, now that there are so many smaller businesses and micro brands starting and drop shippers. People are really trying to kind of differentiate what's the real brand, what's a high quality brand, and what are these drop shippers. Nothing against drop shipping, but what are these brands that you're going to wait 4 months or 4 weeks to get a product where yeah, it's just an easy thing to do, and I think you can build a lot of high quality content, and you can grow your reach, and yeah,
and perceived value, right? So
perceived value, yeah, definitely.
You could build your brand culture. So if you take a look at certain brands, and you can take a look at a bar of soap where you can pay $1 or you can pay $15, and yes, people do pay $15 for a single bar of soap if it's got that high perceived value. Same thing, I often use a knife case study where people pay $49, but for the exact same knife, they're willing to pay $224. Well, how does that happen? And that happens on your Amazon listing optimization, of course. But then when people go and they check it out and they see that there's high quality, and it depends on what you're like. If you're selling plastic shoe stretchers, it's a whole different ball game. But and that's what you've got to figure out. But perceived value and what you're trying to get out of your social media is important. I guess that leads me to something else, and that is understanding your audience and which platform to go on. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I think that's a question that everyone wants answers to, and unfortunately, a lot of it is going to come down to it depends. So it depends on your demographic, your niche, how old the people that are buying your product are, how old the people are that are using your product. So all these things come into are all mixed together, and there are things that you can definitely start on today that 95% of brands can definitely do well with. So that's just starting on Facebook and Instagram, having that as like a banner, setting it up, making it look nice. It's an easy way for people to see that you are a real legitimate brand. But definitely take a look at your customer avatar, see where your customers are going, learn more about your customers, and try to figure out where they view social media. Are they young? Are they TikTok age? Are they kind of the older, not old, I don't want to offend you, Norm, but are they into, maybe they're more Facebook groups? I know specifically, let's say for our podcast social media, Facebook and Facebook groups do extremely well over everything else. So it really depends. Some Pinterest would be great. So it really does depend. And I know, Norm, you have a couple of apps that you like to use.
Yeah.
You want to mention them?
Yeah, sure. So for building an audience, one of the gems out there that a lot of people don't know about, it's called Spark Toro. It's a Spark Toro .com. And there's a training video that I think the CEO, Rand Fishkin, goes through. It's about 8 minutes long. By the time you're finished it, you pretty much know, like the back of your hand, this app, and it can extract this information for all white hat, like just to let you know who your audience is. And once you have that information, really what your platforms and who are the influencers to the people that are listening to your competitors. And it's just a great, simple way of kind of tracking who's out there and what type of audiences you should go for. So that's one. You also mentioned something, and this goes back to brand consistency at a very cheap price, doing it on your own, and that is Canva. So, Kels, I mean, you started out using Canva. I think you still use Canva, and it's such a simple, cheap. Like there is a premium package, but it's a great tool to help, right?
Yeah, definitely. If you are an Amazon brand that you have no idea where to get started, I definitely recommend Canva.com. It has a bunch of free resources, but like you said, to unlock some of like the higher quality tools that they have, you can pay. I think it's $16 a month, something like that. So it's fairly affordable, but you have so much access. You can be creative. They have templates that you can use for Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest. They really have everything, even infographics, pant flips, like anything that you need, Canva can help you with. So you can set your brand colors, your fonts. It's all set up there. They have a bunch of lessons that you can use. So yeah, it's a really great tool.
We were on the phone the other day with somebody who was talking to us about social media, and they were just completely confused because these platforms now are trying to do everything. So you've got, like, let's take Instagram, right? You've got reels, you've got stories, you've got highlights, you've got all this stuff. And where do you even start with that? Like, do you try to take it all on?
Social media?
No, on like on an Instagram. Like, I'm an old guy. I take a picture, I post it up, that's it. You come back and say, oh, you got to do this, you got to do this. And I mean, there's so many things. And like for me, and we've talked about it, I got completely stressed out trying to think, what do I got to do? There seems to be so much I have to do for this one platform. I mean, I know the answer, but what do you think that you can mention to everybody here about that?
Well, definitely repurposing your content. That's a great way to do one form of content, break it up into a bunch of different types of content, and spread it out across your social media. But yes, I do agree. Like Instagram, they're always coming up with something new, like stories or reels, IGTV, Instagram videos, Instagram posts. But it does take some practice to understand the format of everything. But yeah, definitely, if you have any content like videos, you can definitely break those up into smaller content. We use repurpose.io. That's a great tool that anyone can use. If you go live, if you have podcast, just a simple video, you can cut that up into snippets, make 5 or 6 different highlights, and post it everywhere. But definitely, when you're starting out, start with some pictures, lifestyle photos. Try different types of content, see what works and what doesn't, and go from there. So definitely definitely take a look at your insights. Take a look at how many likes or comments you get on different posts, what does well, what doesn't do well. Stop what's not doing well and continue with what's working for you.
Right. I just saw a comment here about online arbitrage and private label. We're going to keep to the topic today, which is about social media, but please feel free to post that in the Private Label Legion Facebook group, or you could, just put it in the Private Label Facebook group, and we'll get to that answer. But for today, let's stick to social media. Again, keeping on social media, you were talking about repurposing it and taking little bits and snippets and adding those snippets to all these different platforms. But what about content? What are the different types of content that you can provide? Because the last thing you want is to have 1,000 motivational quotes. That's just not going to help.
Yeah, definitely. So, you want to break it up into different kinds of content. So if you have a blog, you can use the blog, you can repost that, you can break those blogs up into different pieces, maybe the tips from the blog, the quotes, break it up into that. There's video. Video is huge right now, pretty much across all social media. So even if you're a little shy, I would recommend even just trying to film some video of yourself and posting, or even like product videos would do well. There's, like you mentioned, quotes, tips, curated content. So this is sharing other people's content on social media. So that involves nothing really, no time at all. You can just search up on Facebook, press the share button, and share it to your page or group. So they're all different ways. You can repost on Instagram. It's fairly common practice to do that using apps like Repost. And it depends really on your product, on what your goals are, your demographic and niche, but there's tons of different contents that you can use.
Okay, so the other thing you were talking about, so you're talking about this type of content, I think it's really important to mention that you don't want to, if you are repurposing something, not to repurpose the same thing across all your platforms the same day.
Yeah, especially if it's every single day. You definitely want to break it up. If you do, it is a great way to batch your content and create a ton of content at once. You want to take maybe a day out of the week and create a bunch of content. And you can definitely repurpose it across different social media platforms. That's not what we're saying here. But you can, I would suggest spreading them out throughout the month on different days if you are going to do that, just so it's, like you said, it's not the same thing over and over and over again. If you're going from Facebook over to Instagram, over to Pinterest, over to TikTok, and it's all the same kind of content. So this really helps break it up. And people do forget what they see on social media. So if they see it maybe a month before on an Instagram post and they see it on Facebook, then it's not as big of a deal as if it's the same every single day as you go on. But I'm interested to see for the people watching, what are their thoughts on social media? Which platforms do they use right now? Are they mostly on Instagram? Do you find success in Facebook pages, Facebook groups? So let us know in the comment sections where your main platforms you use are.
Now, the other thing that I find extremely helpful and that we've seen grow over the year is that if you don't be a promoter, like you can promote your webpage, but you don't want to just sell your product. The worst thing and we've talked about this before in the group, in our Private Label Legion group, but you just can't sell. Nobody wants to go just to that, the dollar discount club. What they want to do is get value. And if you can provide value and you can provide interesting posts, get people to have guest posts or find curated comments or content, people will be interested. And not only will they be interested in your page, if you either create a Facebook group or start to build a community or start to join communities and provide that type of information, and you're not saying, oh, here's my information, but here's my dog collar or my plastic shoe stretchers or whatever it is, people will slowly come over and start to like that page, and you'll organically build traffic. And then when you do promote something, it's not going to be, oh, they're just selling us stuff. They'll trust you. You'll be authority. Again, authority, trust, sales. And one of the things you were mentioning just before the call, we were talking about two-step URLs and, what do we do if we want to bring this back to either our Amazon store or a product listing? Use a raw link. Just go directly back. You can link it to your store. If I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole, but if you have Google My Business, and if that link you're using in Google My Business, it's called an anchor URL, is your product listing, every time you post anything on social media will automatically get indexed and put onto Google. So that's something we'll talk about. We do have a training video on Google My Business where we get right into it. But if you have that raw link, that's what you need. Just bring it back over to the page, and once in a while. But you can also post, like in your product inserts, for example. Kelsey, you were talking about repost. Tell people to tag you. If you've got this knife or if you've got that plastic shoe stretcher, hey, tag us. And then you could take repost and use user-generated content, get it up there, and leverage that content and repost it everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And like you were saying about providing value, if you're a dog collar company, you're not just going to show products of the dog collar. You want UGC content. You want to show the different colors, but you also want to show the lifestyle. You want to see the dogs actually wearing it. So a big thing that's happening right now is UGC content and influencers. So finding those micro influencers, even giving them out for free, and finding those influencers so that they can post photos of your content, and tagging you, and it just makes you look more legitimate as you grow.
Very good. So, we're getting to the end here, but Kels, provide us with a few tips, do's, don'ts.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll speak specifically on Instagram for a couple of these, but
sure.
As there are definitely micro brands here listening, Instagram stories are a huge area where I think a lot of brands just kind of forget or they don't know how to use it, but it's something that you can easily do. Instagram stories are a way to show for businesses the prices of your product, who's using your product, what comes in the product, your store hours, all the good things can be easily accessible using Instagram highlights, and you can add thumbnails to make it look nice, and it just gives you somewhere that when people go to your Instagram profile, they can easily spot, like, okay, these are the prices, click on that and it'll show you, oh, these are the different scents of your candles. You can go there and see everything. And it's a very helpful way for people who have a presence on Instagram. Also, like you said, always adding value to communities and groups that you're in. Don't spam those Facebook groups that you're on. Don't be posting those links trying to sell their business. You want to add value, specifically give them information that they're looking for, whether it's like dog leashes, you're a dog leash company, you want to give your favorite, types of food that you feed your dogs, the different parks that you go to, but you don't want to just be spamming out your dog leashes. Also, a couple of don'ts for Facebook specifically. Take away those links when you're posting on Facebook. Facebook hates that you're posting links going outwards onto YouTube or different sites. So if you can, limit the amount of links that you use in your Facebook posts. If you notice in your analytics, when you use a post with a link in it, it'll drastically cut down the amount of people that actually see your content, because Facebook wants you to stay on Facebook. They don't want you to go on YouTube or any other platform. So I know a lot of Amazon users or sellers want to link out to their product page or their blogs and articles, which you definitely can, but just try and limit the amount you're using that and try and keep everything on Facebook as well. And also don't do Facebook hashtags. It's an easy way for people just to kind of think, oh, this is a brand, and I'm just going to keep scrolling. They don't really do too much, in my opinion, and I think they do more harm. And I think they also Facebook limits the amount of reach as well. So those are just a couple of tips.
Great. So yeah, we've seen Facebook. We're looking through Facebook, and we were seeing 15 hashtags, and it looks crappy. So just don't do it. Limit it to 1 or 2 if you need to. But I think that's it for today. We're on every Tuesday at 1:30. My partner, Tim Jordan, is going to be back next week. And I'm not sure exactly what we'll be talking about, but it will be something in the Amazon world. So, Kelsey, thank you for joining me today. I never get to talk to you. But anyways, thanks for joining me. And if you like what you heard today, please go over to our Facebook group and please join, or go over to the YouTube channel and check out some of our other great videos. We've got a brand new Walmart series that's come out. It's all free content, and it gets right into selling on Walmart. And we also, for those sellers who want to get a bit more information, get more training, check out the Centurion League. And that is for people who want to have ongoing training through our group mentoring program. So thank you for joining us here today, and we'll see you next week.